Hello and welcome to FinTech Impact. I'm your host, Jason Pereira. Today's show, I have Gabe Caldwell, co-founder of Quin. Quin is a artificial intelligence-driven advisor support tool, specifically bringing AI to assistant, basically becoming your AI assistant for many, many functions. And with that, here's my interview with Gabe. Gabe, thanks for your time today.
Yeah, good to be here, Jason. Thanks for having me.
So Gabe Caldwell of Quin, tell us about Quin.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, Quin is an AI assistant for financial advisors to automate their busy work, whether that's note taking, entering data into a CRM, responding to emails, scheduling meetings, and more. What that human executive assistant can do for you for $60,000, $80,000 a year, Quin can do for you starting at $49 a user per month.
Talk to me about how it came to be.
Yeah, we not only just founded this technology, we also have a venture studio called Plainsight Ventures. So half venture capital, half research firm, and we look for problems for industries that either don't have a solution or maybe an outdated solution and build that for them. So this has been busy work, admin work for sales professionals, business owners, executives. That's been a challenge from the beginning of time. We've been working with financial advisory groups for the past 8 to 10 years. And as we were exploring this to solve our own problem, we shared it with them and they said, oh my gosh, yes, we spend half of our week doing this busy work. If you guys are exploring building a solution, we'd love to be a part of that. So in working with them, we actually designed, beta tested, and converted a lot of our network here around the United States, which were different advisory groups, specifically RIAs, as our initial customers, and ultimately have been growing the business for just over a year now since then from that genesis.
Excellent. So let's dive into basically, if you're looking for outdated workflow management, financial services is certainly a hotbed of inefficiency. So no surprise you ended up looking at our industry. Talk to me about Quin and the various tasks that it automates for advisors.
Yeah. So Quin has access to your CRM, your email, your calendar, and then we do use an LLM underneath the hood, which we can get into. So it has access to all the information on the internet effectively. Anything you can do within those tools, Quin can best case do for you automatically or proactively, or with a simple prompt, it can do things for you on the go. Some of the use cases there, we have about 70 different skills that our users can choose from a skill set perspective. Some of the ones that come to mind for a lot of advisors are that helping you with meeting and that post-meeting admin workflow comprehensively. So of course we can take notes. That's table stakes, lots of tools that do that. We're just going to do a lot more around that post-meeting workflow from an admin perspective. So we take notes, we interpret the meeting and determine what needs to be done according to your workflow within your CRM, email, and calendar. We go and execute those things automatically. You're not logging into our tool and clicking a bunch of buttons. It's doing it like a great assistant, sending you a recap. And those things would be, of course, follow-up email. It's in your tone. If it needs to go off and find information regarding a question that was discussed during that meeting, it will go get it. Entering information into your CRM comprehensively. We're not just taking a note and putting in a note field, which is great, but that's not the full job that needs to be done. Maybe we need to create a new household record, create a contact record, manage tasks, update structured data or unstructured data, i.e. note, and delegate those type of things. At the level of human executive assistant, Quin can interpret, deduce, and execute that within your CRM. And then if you discuss, hey, let's do a meeting and tax review December 23rd at 10 a.m., Quin will automatically create that calendar invitation, include a virtual meeting link, add participants, add a subject for you, just dictating during that meeting, being able to help you prep for meetings, respond to emails. So you get an email from a client. Wouldn't it be great if an executive assistant could read, interpret, find context, reply in your tone? And when you log into your inbox, all those emails that you had were already first draft were written, and you simply just had to review and send out from there. Get you to inbox zero quite a bit easier. We also have a scheduling tool. So although third parties out there like Calendly are great, we want to reduce our tech stack. So I don't want to have 6 tools if I can just have one to do all of them. We have a tool that can effectively help you with scheduling those meetings and share that out from there. And everything within Quin can be customized using what are called guidelines. Every advisory group is different. So overgeneralized things don't work. Having lack of control of being able to get in and customize your workflow of what you want that note to look like, or that communication, or maybe you just want to say, hey, I want you to go to LinkedIn and scrapes where they went to school and add that to my CRM. Wouldn't it be great if you could add natural language there and just tell your assistant what you want it to do? You can do that with guidelines within our product. It's not a complicated Zapier connection, if then logic. It's just typing in what you want it to do as if you're instructing a human. And then our technology will execute that every time with precision.
All right. You covered a lot there. So a couple things to point out. Thank you for identifying that everybody's their own unique snowflake, because too often some of these integrations are done bog standard and effectively like that's not how people use the software, or they use a different field in the CRM than this one intended. So it makes perfect sense that you would have to build in that kind of flexibility. We're going to dive into some of the functionality that I want to go into. But one of the other things you talked about was how you're replacing the likes of Calendly in the stack. So that to me makes a lot of sense, because what you're really trying to do is you're handling communication, right? And one of the things that we communicate with people is these entire meeting notes, right? Although not just not meeting notes, is the calendar invitations, but not just the invitations, the follow-ups, right?
Yep.
If you want to control the points of communication, because that's an entry point for data collection and then dissemination of that data, it would make sense that you try to funnel as many through your tool as possible.
Yeah. And not only do that, but also then allow the advisor to customize what they want to happen next. So triggering point is scheduling a meeting with the advisor through this link. The advisor may want to have that added to their CRM, or maybe they want their assistant to, when someone schedules, to go off to LinkedIn and scrape information, or go to their company website, or notify their team via Slack.
Yep.
All of that can be scripted into what the assistant does upon that triggering, versus having to purchase another iPaaS solution like a Zapier to connect the dots between technology and learning how to do all of that.
So that begs the question. I look at all the skills that you've gone into, and we'll go to that in a second. Are you doing that having built your own integration engine, or are you specifically utilizing, like, are you building agents for each of these individual tasks that, already tied in directly to the via integration and have the flexibility to make these changes?
Yeah. So underneath the hood, we've done a lot of tooling. The brain of everything is using an LLM. Currently, we use Gemini, but we're optimizing that on a weekly basis because there is an AI race, and we're testing against a rubric internally to use the best model for our advisors using our technology. North Star's accuracy, second is speed. As far as using the word of agents and things like that, we built tools underneath the hood with direct integrations to these different systems that by default will have instructions to carry out things that advisors want and need. But then they have the ability to add additional rules using guidelines of their preference of a workflow, things to be done. And because our tool underneath the hood has access to these different things, it can understand that, and just making it easier for them to teach their assistant what they want to do.
That interface is effectively natural language, essentially. I'm not going in there and building tie-ins like I would in Zapier.
That is correct. So it's natural language. And we even added an optimize button there. So you write it in your best hit, because prompting is a skill and AI works better underneath a more declarative prompt. But if you haven't been trained on that, like most advisors haven't, you may go in there and just use natural language, hit the optimize button. It'll rewrite it in a more declarative manner that the AI likes to hear. Always do this when this happens. And so it reduces some of the ambiguity and risk of not having a well-formed prompt there.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't discovered the concept of master prompting, I highly, highly encourage you to look it up, use it, because it will take you to the next level on the use of these tools.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough. So effectively, you are basically, it's funny because the holdback on a lot of automation has simply been that, hey, I could really just spend as much time telling my staff member how to do something and they can go do it because they understand enough context and have enough discretion to understand systems sufficiently that frankly, like, it actually is going to be more work for me to fill out a standard form or whatever else it is. But what you're doing, given that you're capturing all the points of communication plus the actual natural language inputs of the individual, effectively what you're doing is legitimately trying to replace the assistant in the same nature in which the assistant is currently used.
We're built not just for the advisor, we're actually built for the assistant. We're just going to remove the admin monotonous task, even from the assistant's to-do list. They might be able to do things that more grow revenue or require human hands to do particular things with clients. So I don't see us necessarily replacing the need for a human, just putting that human capital towards other things that are going to make a more meaningful impact with driving revenue.
Yeah, this is the great fear of everybody is they're going to put everybody out of work. And in actuality, most of the time it ends up resulting in just different work being done because there's always more work. So get away from the monotonous programmable stuff and move to the stuff that's more higher order. So that's what you've done to date. You've already got a pretty lengthy list of integrations into the things one would expect: accounting, communication portals, organization tools, task management. So that makes a lot of sense. You currently have over 70 pre-programmed skills. Are these all sub-agents? Is that what you've done? Have you created sub-agents for your tool altogether in order to basically increase their accuracy?
Yeah, sub-agents or tools and instructions that are built into our technology to interpret what needs to be done and then execute what needs to be done. So instead of relying on the advisor to come in and think through all of their different workflows, it's already pre-built for standardly for your common workflows for advisors. And then they only have to come in and tweak a few things if they want to customize some workflow. But standardly, it's built and designed for advisors so they can get in, and the setup is very easy. They're going to get value, saving them 5 to 10 hours a week just out of the box. It's not a heavy setup there. And then they can just fine tune some things that they want from there.
Good. So that's what you've done to date. Where do you see this expanding to? Because right now you're handling a lot of task management around the CRM, around comms. What else do you see yourself expanding to?
Yeah, our North Star at Quinn is really, it is that high powered executive assistant. So what would that role do for you? First off, it's going to have access to your entire tech stack where you're doing work, admin type work. So right now, moving forward, we're looking to add integrations. That is our focus. So listening to our customer base, seeing what they want their assistant to help them with, and then building those according to those requests, whether it's financial planning software, it's other tools than that tech stack. And then from there, exploring what else would that assistant do? Would that assistant help schedule hotels? Would they book flights? Those are things in a grander vision that we'll be looking into and see what's possible with technology. But the role of an executive assistant would do tasks like that. So if it's possible for us to execute on those with accuracy, I could see those maybe not next year, but as things progress, we'll eventually get there. And those are tasks that Quinn would take on.
Excellent. Basically, you're looking to expand, or at least so. You only touched upon 2 of the 10 poles of financial advice software, right? So the 4 tent poles are some productivity suite. So either Google or your Microsoft. Your CRM, which is a short list of vendors in the marketplace altogether that are specific to this industry, and a couple generic ones. And then you have your portfolio management and your financial planning software. I would to envision that if you can get into all 4 tent poles effectively, the amount of automations you could trigger would be, now you're really an assistant, quite honestly.
Correct. Yeah, that's the vision. That's where we're looking to get. And really, we're just looking for advisors to reach out to us with specific use cases in those integrations so we can see if we can execute that back to the jobs to be done framework. What's the actual work that needs to be done here so we can make sure that we build something that actually delivers value versus just building an integration that hits an API endpoint that doesn't deliver an actual job to be done there. We're not building that. If there is a integration within our technology, it's delivering on specific jobs to be done. Anyone listening to this that's looking for a new integration to Quinn, reach out to us. We'd love to explore what that jobs to be done and use cases. And if it's available through the API, we'll most likely build it.
Yeah, I think one of the things I see that's becoming a challenge is in a lot of ways, a lot of AI tools are slowly trying to be the be all end all AI tool where we all spend our time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really difficult road because frankly, there's going to be a lot of competition in that space. The CRM manufacturers are for sure going to fight back on that space because anyone who's already got my attention already has an advantage if they can layer on that functionality. However, what I like about what you did is that you've literally structured this as jobs to be done. So if I don't want to get rid of Calendly, I don't have to get rid of Calendly. I can keep it, but I can definitely utilize you for other things. And that looks really compelling because there's a number of use cases here where I don't necessarily want to move from my current tech stack. Some of these use cases, something as simple as, oh, you were able to search LinkedIn and populate my CRM and enrich that data, right? There are vendors in the marketplace that do that as a specialized piece. But if I can get that through you, as well as get a number of other automations done in a natural language context, then that is a compelling value proposition.
Yep, exactly. So if you have a note taker that you love, awesome. That's one of our 70 skills that we take care of. Use your note taker. We can do some of these other things for you. We have a lot of clients that way. If you love your Calendly tool or scheduling tool, you can just give your assistant, Quinn, that link to your calendar tools, explain when you want those to be used. Quinn's going to utilize those Calendly links effectively in your workflow as we automate those for you. And then we have some people that are like, you know what, this is everything I need. I'm canceling my note taker and my email responder and my scheduler and all these things. And we're just going to go all in on Quinn. That's available as well.
Excellent. Talk to me about, again, this is one of the things that, one of the reasons I do like what you've done is, I said it earlier to you when we basically started talking, is that too much of it is AI in pursuit of a problem, as opposed to problems being solved with AI where it makes sense. It's led to everybody saying, oh, here's an AI version of this technology. And it's okay. That's a really crappy version of the technology with AI layered over it. And then base level AI. Congratulations. Thank you. I don't have to go into ChatGPT now, but you didn't eliminate the swivel chair. Like, it's just a big deal. But what you did, you literally came out from a jobs to be done standpoint, which I think is absolutely the way to look at things. Talk to me about like your kind of internal editing process. Like, how do you identify the jobs to be done, if they're purposeful, meaningful, and if you can add value to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So even before Quinn began, when we looked at different problems to be solved there, it's all through a jobs to be done framework that we run through. High level, what we're trying to tease out through this is this actually a pain point, or is this a nice to have? We're not trying to build a vitamin, we're trying to build a painkiller. And if someone has a toothache that hurts so bad that they can't sleep at night, they are willing to part with dollars to solve that problem. But if it's something that's idealistic, like a vitamin, like this could make you feel better, even though your life is great, they'll probably stop paying that or not pay for that at all. So we're trying to determine if this is truly a pain point that people are willing to pay for. And then the jobs to be done framework is trying to specifically layer on the exact steps that are being taking place, understanding the time and the pain and the cost this is causing that person, and actually writing that out. And when it's a kind of a hard process to be able to go through that, we run kind of Notion through that to put everything together as a team. And you'll find out real quick, if you can't document that or communicate the pain around that, is probably not that big of a pain point. So things will fall apart pretty quick through that process. But if you can document that, you can see the actual pain, whether it's costing them time or lost customers or lost revenue, then you have something that not only feeds into what the product needs to execute on, is also that marketing and communication. It really builds the whole funnel off of that. So it's been something that when we think about a problem to tackle, to build a solution, to even where we think about adding integrations today, it leads all of our framework as we're creating new things to add.
So that's absolutely the way you should handle it, because I've looked at a number of examples where people are like, oh, look, it handles this task. I'm like, you replace something that could have been automated through a 2-button click. Like, it's valuable compared to a much longer process. But like, again, using AI as the solution to everything makes no sense, right? Like, a lot of times it's not an AI solution that makes, like, even look at how you're able to execute. So you got an AI layered over top of a bunch of pre-existing APIs, right? And like, whether they're using MCPs or not, the reality is that you're using traditional solutions with an AI addition to actual jobs to be done. And that's really the way to look at it, is if there was, and as you said, if it really isn't that big a pain, then why am I going to fix it for you?
Yeah, and so AI is not the solution for everything. AI is not perfect. Without the right tooling and guardrails built in place, like what we have with Quinn, AI will make mistakes. It is going to hallucinate. And if we're talking about financial services where things need to be bulletproof, you have to have things built in a proper way and guardrails built there. And if I can get something done using hard coding through an API versus having to use AI to assure 100% accuracy, we can do that as well. So you don't always need AI for every single thing. And for certain jobs, it can be a tremendous help. So other ones, it may actually be a downfall to use it there.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah. Or just the equivalent of basically swatting a fly with a hammer, right? There's no point.
Yes.
So basically, you've talked about further integrations. You talked about all this. Like, anything else that kind of is on your radar you want to accomplish that we haven't talked about yet?
I think those are the main things there, using the framework that we've already been using there, jobs to be done, to really clearly state what integrations truly need to be added, what's the value delivered, learning from our customers. Our customers drive everything for us. They'll tell us exactly what they need, use case, features, tweaks, and then building for them, creating raving fans out of them, and they tell their friends, and that's how we grow our business. So that's how we run our product development.
Good stuff. Before we end, there's 3 questions I want to ask to end on a positive note. First question, if you had one wish for something to change in your company or the industry as a whole, what would it be?
I think there's a lot of charlatans out there that are over-promising and under-delivering with technology these days that are making us all, unfortunately, skeptics to technology out there. So I'd say if we could wave a magic wand and say that you couldn't market something unless you could deliver on it from a product perspective, that would be good for everyone.
Oh man, honestly, I got to tell you, you talk about hitting one of my pet peeves. And it's even worse when you see them like demo stuff that isn't real, right? You just know that's not real. That ain't real. Or they'll even go, I've had some switcheroos where they're demoing and then they switch over to Figma. And I'm like, hold on a sec. The screen change you just did, this isn't real. I get the entire special desperation when you start off and whatever, but the reality is that the reputation in this industry will follow you, and it is a really small industry. And trust me, we all know who's selling BS.
Yes.
It gets around. The number of times I get pinged about, oh, found this company. Have you heard of them? They're really promising everything. I'm like, okay, what does that tell you? Yeah, probably not real. I'm like, yep, it's not real. And
Yes.
get into the stories you've heard from other people. Anyone starting to get into the advisor tech industry, I will tell you right now, do not make false statements. It will haunt you. Anyway, don't get me started. Second question I have for you is, what's been the biggest challenge in the company where it is today?
Yeah, I think like any business, there's always big challenges as far as getting things going in the beginning and focusing on the right things out of all the noise. I think we're at a stage now where we have a very mature customer base across the United States, organically growing, which is great. I think just we have the product in such a good place. It's about just awareness and brand recognition, getting out there, which just takes time. If there was a fast track to that, it would be amazing. But I think it's okay that it's slow and it grows organically. Every founder is always in that position. You want to grow even faster than you possibly can. So that would be a challenging part
Well,
for us.
I'll give you the secret in this industry. It's very straightforward. Just pay for it. Like the reality is that make sure you get on stage at every conference possible, make sure you put out promotions and get the right marketing companies, and you can get out there and become a known name in the space as a default. And I'll tell you right now, I've seen it work with a bunch of companies where just maybe they don't have the best version of the technology, but because they got out there and they got mind share, oh boy, is it paying dividends.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So last question for you. What is it about what it is you're working on that excites you and keeps you getting out of bed in the morning?
Yeah, I think it's because I'm solving a problem that I had myself my entire career, whether it's been myself as a business owner or when I was building sales teams, 80, 100 folks there. We always struggle with the admin things being done, taking notes, getting information into the source of truths so that our teams can run effectively. We're always chasing down data and having poor strategy and having to babysit a lot. Being able to implement this so that this is done automatically and proactively to allow me to run our businesses even more efficiently, and then gifting that out to other people, which I know the biggest gift is saving people time, is truly an amazing gift to be able to give to people.
It really is. And frankly, it's the one commodity we cannot purchase more of, even if we want to.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate your time and wish you all the best of luck.
Thanks, Chase.
So that was Gabe Caldwell of Quin. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you're looking for enabling over 70 different skills right now and creating a virtual assistant experience, just take the time to look at it. As always, if you enjoy this podcast, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Until next time, take care.
This podcast was brought to you by Woodgate Financial, an award-winning financial planning firm catering to high net worth individuals and their families. To learn more, go to woodgate.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, or find more episodes at jasonpereira.ca.